What's going on, y'all? Welcome to Joel Friday TV. I am Joel Friday. Welcome to the show. A few announcements before we get started. Hit that like button, smack it. Lay the smackdown, like, subscribe, and share button. Tell your peoples about the show so we can get the subscribers up. And a message out doing now. Help a brother out. As you guys know, we are live Monday through Thursday at 11 a.m. Pacific time on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Punchy.tv. And at any point during the show, you can call in at 888-775. What's going on here? We got a little background action. Hold on. Give me a second. What the kind of mess? 888-775-3773. 888-775-3773. We just revealed we pulled the curtain back. Now you guys know the truth. Anyway, you can call in. And if for whatever reason you can't call in, but you still have a question or comment, or you just want to support the show, you can go to buymeacoffee.com/JoelFridayTV, or go directly to the YouTube live chat, hit the super chat button there, send your question or comments in. I'll read them live on air. Okay? Joel looks high again. I ain't high. What is today? Today is Wednesday. What is Wednesday? Relationships Wednesday. You guys love Relationship Wednesdays. Don't lie. Remember when you guys were talking so bad about me? You guys were like, Joel, all you do is talk about the relationships. What's wrong with you? You beta. Stop doing that. What's wrong with you? And now y'all be tuning in, taking notes. Stop lying. You taking notes. I seen you. Okay? I don't blame you. Joel don't smoke no weed no more. No more weed. I ain't playing with y'all. I ain't playing with no weed. Weed a mess. Anyway, today's Wednesday, as you guys know. So before we get into that good stuff, that good, the steak and potatoes, I first want to give you guys a little news. All right, just a little news. Nothing crazy, some light. And real quick, right here, homegirl. Woman leaves husband and goes on wild sex adventure with 100 men after cancer diagnosis. Listen. The lady had a plan. The lady, listen, she trying to live her best life, okay? Listen, life was hard. She got cancer and she pulled out the bucket list. Listen, she put the bucket list away when she got married, okay? She put it away when she got married. And she was like, I'm going to be a good wife. Listen, I'm going to be a good wife. I'm going to be obey. I'm going to be obedient. I'm going to do my part. I'm going to be that one. Right? She put it away. Doc told her, lady, you got cancer. Bet. She ran back to the drawer, pulled out the bucket list, and she just going down it. Are you mad? Is you mad at her? Is you mad? No, but in all honesty, this wasn't like something that came about out of nowhere. Like, I have cancer, so I want to go do this. No, this been on her mind. This been on her heart. And she been wanting to do this, and cancer was just an opportunity. I thought that was interesting. And it kind of leaves me, Lil C says she did not obey. No, that's probably true. But I don't know. But here we go. So it kind of leads into my point that I want to make here about relationships and marriage. Listen, I realized, I finally understand why marriages don't work. I finally understand it. Okay? I finally get it. Is for one, it's because the woman doesn't know her role, right? And for two, it's because the man doesn't know himself. That is the reason why marriages do not work. Because when that is not in place, blind leading the blind. You can't see. You're lost. And when you're lost, you're digging. You're pulling at everything. You're pulling at anything. You're making stuff up. You're trying every route. You're leaving your marriage to go have sex with 100 men. You just don't, you're not understanding why there's no peace in the relationship, right? And that's because you're lost, blind and can't see. And that's why marriages end. But I want to give you guys some details, okay? I want to give you guys some examples of what I mean. Because y'all be thinking I'm cap, that I'm lying, making stuff up. I'm beta. And though you may be right, I still want to give you guys some details here, okay? So this is from TikTok. Her name is Paige. She's a wife. Lady describes why she doesn't do her husband's laundry. These clips are about a minute to 2 minutes long, so pay attention. She talks really fast. So kind of listen up, listen close, and get your notepads out, okay? Because this is what... Anyway, here we go.
A few weeks ago, I said I don't do my husband's laundry, and a lot of people are saying, whoa, 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 those are small acts of kindness. Why wouldn't you want to do that for your partner? But here's the thing. Small acts of kindness that are mostly domestic labor just add up to work at the end of the day. So here's a list of things that I don't do for my husband. You all know I don't do his laundry. He can do that himself. I do my laundry and we do the kids' laundry, but he does his own. I don't cook dinner. He cooks dinner every single night. I do breakfast and lunch for us and our kids. I don't pack him a lunch. If he's hungry, he'll figure out what he's going to eat for lunch the same way that I do. I don't make his doctor's appointments because guess what? He's not making mine. Would it be kind of me to do that? For sure. Is it my job? Absolutely not. I want him to be healthy, but he's a grown-ass man and he can book his own appointments, right? Can I do small acts of kindness for him? Of course I can. And I do. I see a vinyl that I think he's going to like because he's creating a vinyl collection. I buy it. I'm at the store and I see something that I think he might enjoy eating. I buy it. I find a new non-alcoholic beer that he wants to try out. I buy it. Right? Those are small acts of kindness. Doing his laundry, cooking him dinner, making him lunch, booking his doctor's appointments, all those things, that's domestic labor. Those are chores. Those are not acts of kindness. Do I do them occasionally when he's working a lot? Of course. Do I cook dinner sometimes when he's had a really long day? Of course. But me not doing that does not mean that I don't show him love or kindness. They're different things. It is not my job as a wife, it is not in my job description to do all the domestic labor as small acts of kindness to my partner and receive nothing in return. I agree with this commenter. If it's going both ways, fantastic. But oftentimes, domestic labor, especially when you have children, adds up. And so no, I am not my husband's personal secretary or his personal assistant. I am none of those things. I am his partner, I am his equal, and I do not have to do things to cater to him and serve him at all times to be kind and loving for him.
So, listen, in other words, basically, she doesn't really love her husband. Doesn't really love her husband. And that's or respect him. Doesn't love him or respect him. Because you gotta understand some of the details here, okay? You gotta understand some of the details is that she says, why would I do that in order when I'm going to receive nothing in return? See how that is right there? That's the dynamic already right there. Just that sentence, I probably should have just cut it and made it just to that sentence. Because that's really what it is that it's about her, right? It's all circled around selfishness, right? And that's just basically saying that I will do what you also do, but anything extra, I'm not going to do for you. You know what I mean? And simple acts of kindness, like she said, when she's at the store and she sees some ice cream and she thinks she'll grab it. That's not very hard to do. That's not an act of kindness. Anybody can do that. You're already at the store. You're already walking down the aisle. You know what I mean? You ain't going out your way to get him a ice cream, right? A TV dinner, because she said she does breakfast and lunch. He cooks dinner. That's not an act of kindness. But before we just point the finger and we just judge and say that she's a certain way, we got to give more context. You know what I mean? Because yes, what we're seeing is a lack of love. What we're seeing is selfishness. At least from this clip, this is what she put out on her TikTok. So she's giving us a picture to see, right? She already painted the picture by what she's explaining, right? But let's understand the full picture before we make a judgment, right? Because you can't judge if you know the full picture. This is from TikTok. Paige describes how hard life is to manage having kids. Here we go.
I am a working mom of 4 kids, and this is one of those weeks where I'm like, okay, the math doesn't work. Being a working parent and having kids just feels impossible because my older kids, they are school age. They are 8 and 7 years old, are in public school. And this week they have 2 half days for parent teacher conferences. And then on Monday, they have no school for a holiday. And so in 1 week, in like 7 days, there are 3 days they will not be in school, right? They won't, at least not for a full day. And so as a working parent, my husband and I are navigating like, okay, what do we do? Do we pay for after school care? Well, that's kind of expensive. Like per day, I think it's $90 for the 2 kids for half days, and the full day is over $180 per kid. So like, that's expensive. I could take the day off. He could take the day off, but we only have so much PTO, right? And that's 3 days in 1 week. Like this adds up. And I think a lot of people underestimate how difficult it is to manage the logistics of having older kids. Like I have 2 kids in daycare. I'm making their lunch right now. It's pretty easy to manage their schedules because they have daycare 5 days a week on a consistent schedule. But when you get to school, it's not childcare, it is school. And so the schedule is all over the place and it is so difficult to navigate. And even just the hours, right? Like if you work a 9 to 5, school's not open 9 to 5, so you need after school care or before school care. Like this is something I don't think people talk about enough. Everybody talks about how women leave the workforce when they have little kids. I know so many more women who have left when their kids hit kindergarten because it is way harder to navigate.
Okay. As hard as I know it is for you guys to watch that video and want to just tear her apart, right? Just rip the argument apart, smack her with the truth, and just rebuke her. As much as I understand how you're feeling, let me tell you that at the same time, her husband is okay with this. Her husband is on board with this, right? Why? Because he made her go to work, right? To solve her entire argument of that video right there, the solution is very simple and very clear to anybody really, that stop working and you wouldn't be stressing about all those things that you have, right? All those things that you have to do. You got to take the kids to school, and then now you got to worry about childcare. Mind you, with childcare, since both of you guys are working and you have young children, guess who's raising them? Not you. So that's another issue. But she's complaining here about this thing. She's going around complaining how it's so hard to do this. Then why don't you quit your job? But she probably won't because of the mindset, which is we don't have money. And it's really not about money. It's really about independence. It's really about doing what you want. It's really about not being a slave and being stuck at home. That's what it's really. It's not about income. They say that. It ain't about income. This is just a pride thing, right? But how could you blame her, though? Her husband as well is in. He's all in with this. We both going to work, right? And her husband is dealing with this. Her husband is on board. Her husband hears this daily. And he's okay with it. He has to be. Maybe not deep down, But listen, they have this agreement. So you can't also just blame her because her husband ain't there telling her how the cow ate the cabbage. Because if he was, she wouldn't be on TikTok doing these rants. Isn't that so interesting? All that stress will be avoided if you just stayed at home. Right? That's so interesting to me. I have one more I want to show you guys. Lady describes how hard life is to manage. Oh no, I did that. Lady goes on a rant about the unfairness of the roles in marriage. And listen, guys, before I play this, these TikToks are viral. People are loving it. This means that many people think in this way. And I'm going to break down what this thought process is. I'm going to break down where this all comes from so we have a little bit more context on why people behave this way, why wives behave this way, why husbands behave this way. So we have a little bit more context, but let me play this last clip.
So here's the thing. In our society, we give men a free pass to not know things about their kids or be involved in their day-to-day lives simply because they have a job. And this is really common, especially when there's a full-time working parent who's the sole income earner and a stay-at-home parent. We just assume that he's working, therefore, of course, he doesn't know the teacher's name or the doctor's name or the day-to-day details of his kids' lives. Why would he? He's at work and she's at home. That's her job. But it's interesting because when you flip this dynamic, right? When a woman is the sole earner for her family and her partner stays at home with the kids, she is still expected to know all of that information. And the data shows that women who are the sole earners for their family still do a significant amount of work when it comes to the domestic labor and childcare. But the same is not true when men are the sole earners, right? There is a huge disparity. So it's interesting that we have this narrative that if a man works full time and he provides all of the income for the family, he gets a pass. He does not need to do chores. He does not need to take care of his kids. He doesn't need to do the mundane stuff because he has a job. But when women are in the exact same position, we still expect them to do all of that work. We hold them to a different standard. There are very different standards we have for men and women, but especially in parenting. So what's really interesting to me is that if we have a dual income home where both the mom and the dad are working full time, and let's say they earn similar amounts of money, they work similar hours, women are going to do more domestic labor and more childcare. They are still the one expected to go to all the doctor's appointment, know the doctor's name, know the teacher's name, volunteer at school, all of these things, right? And so no matter the circumstance, women are expected to know this information, but in almost every circumstance, men are not, right? Men get away with not knowing things about their kids' lives or taking them to the doctor simply because they have a job, but women do not get that same pass. They are still expected to do all of that regardless of their employment status. And so I'm not saying any parent should get a pass, but we need to think about these double standards and we need to say, why aren't we holding dads to the same expectations that we hold women? Why are we saying that men don't need to know their kid's doctor's name because they have a job? We would never say the same thing about a working mother. And that is the problem. It's not necessarily who's working and who's at home. It's how we treat them when they're in those positions.
Yikes. What a mouthful. Man, mind racing a million miles a minute. And she's on these TikToks making this content. Listen, let me give some context because there's two sides to this. First thing I want to say is that she talks about how the men don't know the details of the doctor visits. They tend to not pay as much attention to the child care as the mother does. And she's saying that society has created it in such a way because men are out working, and that's the reason. That's not the reason why men don't pay attention to those things. The reason why men don't pay attention to that kind of stuff or don't remember that kind of stuff or it's not in them to do that kind of stuff is because that is not for them to do. That is the woman's job, right? And it's not because we woke up and said, the woman, this is your job. The man, this is your job. And this is some man-made written agreement. No, this is the way women are designed by God. Men and women are designed this way. We're designed to do certain things, right? And women are designed to take care of those things, right? the little doctor visits or the little this and this and that. The women are way more detail oriented with this stuff because they're designed to be able to handle all those remember all those things, right? They're created to do that. But where the issues come in, where the stress comes in, is when now you're doing your part as a woman, but now also wanting to do the man's part. That's where your conflict is coming in. It ain't because it ain't fair and the man ain't helping you. It may be in some cases the man ain't helping, he ain't helping at all. I can understand that, and I'm going to get to that. But the issue is that you're trying to do everything. You're trying to be a man and a woman. That's where your stress is coming from. You know what I mean? Now, when it comes to the men, that's why I said there's two sides. I can understand if a man is totally hands off, right? Comes home from work and neglects the family, neglects to help out at all, leaves his socks on the floor. That's an inside joke. But I can understand that, to where men have to help out a little bit. And I'm not saying do the woman's job. I'm just saying, like, pay attention. Read the room, man. Know when you can help a little bit. You don't have to, just because your job is not to clean up or whatever the case is, she's doing that. It doesn't mean that when you see that she may need some help, or you see you're just hanging around at the house and the table's dirty, ain't nothing wrong with going there and wipe it off. You know what I mean? Ain't nothing wrong with that. So men got to not be so in their mess either. But what this lady is missing is that, and I'm going to get to the call, see some people that want to get on this. What this lady is missing is that she's not operating in her role as a woman, and she's mad about it. And what I realize is that she's living from the life of the ego. Remember we talk about the life of the ego? She's living from the life of the ego. And the life of the ego is desperately looking for peace in the home, right? She's blind and can't see. So she's looking for peace in her home. And what is happening is she's trying all these different things in pursuit of finding peace in her home. Well, maybe I should work. Well, maybe I should have him do the dinner because he cooked dinner. Maybe he could do the dinner. Maybe we find a nanny for the kids. Maybe we do this together. Maybe I'll be your partner. Maybe we're equal in this. All these things are not because she sees that this is the right way. These things because she's trying, the life of the ego has to try new things to find peace. And she's not finding it, so she's ticked. She's really ticked. She's really ticked. These are rants, right? She's really ticked because it's not working in her home, and the husband ain't fixing it. What is he doing? He's listening. He's like, yeah, you're right. I'll cook then. Yeah, you're right. You should work. We'll both work. Yeah, you're right. We need to find a nanny. He's just a yes man, seemingly. And because of that, they're all lost, and the whole family has to suffer for it. Kids, wife, husband, dog, cat, turtle. Everybody's suffering. Okay? And it's just because they're lost and can't see. But I also don't feel bad, though, because she's angry and she's arrogant, and she'll have to learn the hard way. And she's putting all her business out there online. So it's a mess. But women got to know their roles and men got to know themselves. And if you know your role and know themselves, then you can't go wrong. And before I end, I will explain how a woman can know herself, for those that don't know, and how how a woman can know her role and how a man can know himself. I'll explain that. But let me get to some calls really quick here. We got some people that want to get in on this. Let me go to C-Sal out of Texas. C-Sal, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Buenos dias, homie.
How's it going? All is well. Muy bien. ¿Y tú?
Are you learning this? Is
I'm learning.
Rosie teaching you that Spanish?
I'm
girl?
learning. I'm learning.
That's awesome. It's interesting. I think the common denominator in those videos that you showed was women are just ungrateful. You know,
Yeah.
it's just lack of gratefulness. How many women would kill to have a husband paying the bills and you being able to stay home, and the humility to like be humble enough to say, hey, we don't make enough money. I can stay home. It'll be better if I stay home and watch our crazy kids, because the kids are always
Yeah.
crazy.
Yeah.
It's the mess, the toys, the constant noise, the constant neediness, everything. But having the peace of mind that they're not in school being abused.
Yeah.
They're not. I read the news, and man, it's crazy out there, and it blows my mind. How can these women be so ungrateful?
Yeah, that's why I want to ask a couple questions. First one is you being a mother, and when it gets chaotic, right? Being at home and the kids, like you just said, what helps you? What centers you again? Is it being grateful or remembering what you have to do, or what centers you again?
Honestly, I think I think it's something given by God. It's
Yeah.
like the peace and love when everything's going crazy. Sometimes, yeah, I do get like, oh my gosh, a little tired.
Yeah.
But it's just patience that God gives you, really,
Yeah.
to be like, kids are gonna be crazy kids.
Yeah.
They're gonna be jumping on the couch.
Yeah.
And I'm grateful. I have a working kitchen. I have a home.
Yeah.
It's just, yeah, being grateful and acknowledging, and also my husband too. My husband, my son is saying cereal, please. My husband my husband says, like, thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for all the work you do with the kids. And he helps me wherever he can. He works many, long hours.
Yeah.
And he still has the attitude of gratefulness. So when the husband has the attitude of gratefulness and the wife does too, it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
It's an enjoyable marriage.
And that's another good point though too, is that it's also that it's happening natural. Like you're saying, you're being grateful, but you also said the patience kind of is coming to you, and that's because when it's right and proper, these things are kind of happening on your behalf as well. You know what I mean? And
Yep.
and
Mm-hmm.
when you go and chase these other things, and it's improper, then you're over here trying to grab at how to find peace. But the second thing I wanted to ask is, why do you think that she is not seeing the simple solutions here to her problems? Do you think it's because she doesn't want to see them, or she's enjoying the thrill of having all this stuff and the stress and being able to complain about it on TikTok? Why do you think that she's denying the truth?
If I've done it before, so I can say that I'm guilty of this.
Yeah.
I've done it sometimes, not a lot, but Joel, it feeds the ego so much to be able to be the martyr for the woman, for me to say, oh my God, I'm at home and I suffer so much and I put up with the children and I'm the one that does everything around here. And if I don't clean it, it doesn't get clean. It feeds my ego. So I know exactly where she's coming from.
Yeah.
So that's half of it. And the other half is white people, especially, that culture is be a boss, babe, have a career, and you got to make more money, and you got to keep up with the Joneses, with your neighbors. If they get a Mercedes, you got to get a better Mercedes.
That's so true. Both of those points are so true. And you're right, especially in the white culture, is like keeping up with the Joneses, but also the ego thing is 100% on point. Is that there's that satisfaction of being the martyr of the family and doing all this stuff, and this is all a thrill. It's not real complaints for her. It's more so like the complaining is feeding her ego, and she feels good about it. Great point. 100%. Cisa, I appreciate it. I got some other people that want to get in on this. So
thank you, Joel.
Thank you for calling.
Well, thank you. Bye.
All right. Not 100%. Mega points. just home run. Both those points are 100% true. And it may also not even be so much of my point as that blind and can't see, right? Of course, they're not seeing that when you do it the proper way, you're a lot more peaceful and happier than some thrills, right? Of course, blind and can't see in that way, but it's not so much about not seeing, it's more so about the ego loving the idea that you can do it all. You're a boss, babe. You got this, girl. And guess what? You gonna tell the men about themselves. You gonna tell them. And what that really is a hatred of men and a hatred of God, because you're rejecting God's order and you're putting down the man and you're not respecting them. And that's what it really comes down to. Even if you say it with your mouth, I love you, husband. I respect you, husband. You the best husband. You the leader of our house. It's a lie, because you're not displaying that in your actions or in your behavior. And neither is the man. And she's really angry. Right? So, be careful. Let me go to JC out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Great call, C-South. Thank you. JC, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hello, Joel. How are you doing?
All is well, JC. Long time no talk, man.
Yes, sir. Happy congratulations on 302 episodes.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Oh, my goodness. You know, what, Joel, isn't it nice that you have a job where you can just provide for you and your wife now, and she doesn't have to work at all and worry about the bills or anything? Isn't that nice?
It's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And yes, I was taught that too. I was taught that if a woman would like to work, she has that opportunity to work, but you should also be able to provide and stuff. But there's nothing wrong with a woman wanting to do for herself and still be there for the family and stuff. For that, the blonde woman in that TikTok,
Yeah.
First of all, that's just a toxic relationship.
Right.
That's just the top. That's if you have the equal partnership. If I'm doing laundry and it needs to be done, okay, well, I'll do your laundry because you did mine last time and stuff. Just be equal in everything. Like, oh, no, I don't want to do his laundry. I'm not going to do my wifely duties or my husbandly duties and stuff. Now, you don't discuss that. What do you think? You discuss the roles of a woman and a man. Well, you'll discuss one of the roles. But, what do you think are, wife duties and husband duties?
Okay. So.
And sorry, that was a lot.
No. And I'm going to try to address it. But a woman's duty is to first overall love God, put God first over everything. Over her husband, over her kids. That's the first thing she ought to do. The second thing she ought to do as a wife is to obey her husband. And obey doesn't mean him telling her what to do and she does it like a dog. It's not that, because that's what people think. It's not that. What it is respect for her husband. She respects her husband's authority and she submits to it. She doesn't try to compete with him, because she sees that there's no reason to compete with him, because they're two very different people. They have two very different roles. And when a woman can see that, she happily will just do her part and let the husband do his part, and they'll be in harmony with each other. So that's the woman's role.
Compete a lot. You say compete a lot when you're describing women in relationships. You say compete a lot. What do you mean by that?
Well, because what women really want is they want to they're looking for peace. They're looking for security, which is confidence within themselves. That's what they're looking for within. But they think that they want what they see that the man has, because the man gets the glory. He goes out and works and everybody shows him love and attention. And what she's seeing when she sees that, she thinks that that's what she wants, that high of a good feeling or whatever. And so what they do is that they go chase that, and they want to be just like that because they want to feel good. They want to feel important. They want to feel valued. not realizing that what they're actually looking for is peace within. And if they seek that, then they can have exactly that and more in their role as a woman.
Joel, I think both men and women want everything that you just described. I want peace. I also want confidence and security. And
Right.
I'm definitely not a woman. I know the chat's going to go crazy when I say that, but I feel like you would want the same thing.
Well, yes.
Don't you want peace and confidence and security?
Well, yeah, that's what the man, that's what she sees in the
This is not
man.
1955.
I know.
This is not the 40s or 50s. This is 2025 where
Right.
women are equal and stuff.
Right.
It's not a
But here's the
competitive
thing. But the thing is that they're chasing something that will never bring them what they want. They're chasing to be like the man when they really, and here's the thing though, they really want to be just like the man. That's why they're chasing all these things. They want to work now. They want to be secure. They want to do all these things because they're imitating what the man does. But if they want to be just like the man, which is have the peace of the man, then all she has to do is submit to him, obey him, follow him, and he'll teach you his ways and how he got what he got. But they think it's a job or a career or a boss babe, that is what makes a man what he is. But what it is that he's following God, and God is leading and guiding him, and God is within him. And if they submit, they'll find that same thing too.
I will agree with you. I will agree with you that, yes, the man needs to be the head of the house. Yes, at any point, if there's a difficult decision, the man needs to be there to make that final decision, that final push.
Right.
But also, it's also very important to recognize, and I can tell I haven't called you in a while, to recognize that a woman, yes, is submitting to her husband. That's biblical and stuff, but she shouldn't have to be treated as if she doesn't have a say when a marriage is an equal thing. Because doesn't it say for a husband to also like obey and follow his wife too in an equal yoke marriage?
Yes. So, I agree with that. I don't think that a man should be sitting up here bossing people around or nothing like that. That's not how a man should approach the situation. He should approach his wife with respect and love. And, it even says in the little scripture, it says that husbands are to love their wives like Jesus loved the church. So they're supposed to approach their wives in the proper way. They're not supposed to be telling them what to do, all that stuff. But if a woman doesn't have kids, there's nothing wrong with her working, right? Why not? If there's no kids involved, she can work. She's capable of working. She can do a job that can bring an extra income. But if she does have kids, the reason why she shouldn't work is because she's doing a disservice to the children who need a mother there to take care of them, who need a mother to watch over them and help guide them on their way and in their adolescence until they grow up.
I think they need both of their parents. I think they need both their mother and father there. And I definitely disagree with you when you said that man made that woman work or told her she had to work and stuff. And I also disagree with that brown-haired TikToker saying that the father doesn't know the doctor's names or the teacher's names and they don't get as much ridicule. No, that's just bad parenting. That's just him being a bad father.
Why?
Not that
so you agree with her? Are you siding with her when it comes to her being working and having a job and having the kids?
Oh, I mean, if she wants to work, she can work and stuff. If she wants to go out there and be that boss, yes, then she can do that and stuff. And I'm going to completely root for her. But also, if I were to ever have a wife, I would work hard enough where she wouldn't have. If she wanted to work, she could work. But if she didn't want to work and wanted to stay at home, she could.
Fair enough. But
But
what about
I'm
do you not care about the children's needs? What about the children's needs?
I definitely care about the children's needs. That's why I'm disagreeing with you to say, oh, a mother needs to be there to nurture and raise and guide. No, both parents need to be
Okay,
there.
so how
Both
both
parents.
parents? Let me make that point. How can both parents be there if both of them working?
I mean, at some point, yes, like there's going to have to be maternity leave and paternity leave, but still, you're going to have to go out there and make a living and provide for these children that you love so much. So at some point, either the father or mother or
Right.
both are going to have to go out to help their children, to feed the children that they love and everything.
Right.
Whenever you do
So-
have children and stuff, you're
Okay.
going to have that guilt. You're going to have that guilt one day of having to be like, I hate that I can't be with my children right now, but I have to go to this job to help them have whatever they wish.
No, it's because there's a and eventually we get to a point to where both parents because the working and childbearing is the curse that happened when the curse Adam wasn't out there with a 9-to-5 job. That only came out after when the curse came and then men had to work. But that's besides the point. That's for another day. The point I'm trying to make is that there is a nice balance that comes in the home when the marriage is the husband and wife are working together. The husband is going out and making the money, but he still comes home and has time to spend time with the children. And the woman is at home taking care of the children, but also tending to the home, doing what needs to be done, cooking dinner, and going to those little doctor's appointments or whatever the case is. That's her job, and that's my job. So it can work if it's done in a balanced way. But what it sounds like you're saying, JC, when a lot of
It's
these
that
ladies
you're
say,
living an outdated life.
no, well, let me
live
tell
a
you,
very outdated life.
but the reason why
Go
this
ahead.
works is because what people tend to do, what marriages tend to do, men and women, is they forget about the children. They don't really care about the children. All they do is care about pleasing themselves, and they care about pleasing their husband or wife, and they forget all about the children. Don't you think that the children are begging to have a parent there or both parents there, helping them and guiding them and loving them because that's their parents? Don't you think that the kids want that?
I'm glad that you're finally saying both parents need to be there. So
Either way, but still,
so yes, they do need to be there. It doesn't just need to be that few hours. And if you're saying that for the father to just come home, spend a few hours with the children, and then be gone, and then let the mother have all the burdens and stuff. No.
But why does she
You
have all the burdens? She don't have all the burdens. What about the burdens that the husband carries at work?
I mean, every parent has to deal with that. Both you and I grew up similarly. We both grew up in single-parent households, and then you're saying all of this. So
Right.
It's so crazy how you disrespect women when you literally
But
grew
how
up
is
with
that
a
disrespect?
woman.
How is saying that a woman has to stay at home and do her
Because
job
your
at
mother
home?
Your mother was the one that took care of you. She took care of home and still worked and stuff and still raised
And I
you
suffered,
and your siblings.
and I suffered for it.
Okay, Joel. And I understand somewhat of this frustration. You saw what your mother had to go through, so you never want to have to put your wife through that and do that. You want to be a better man than what your father was.
Part of it. That's part of the reason. But I'm more so focused on, JC, on what the right thing is, seeking out what the right thing is and what works undeniably. And that is when
the right thing,
two people follow the order of God. That's what works undeniably.
The right thing is trusting the Lord, being a better man, but being a good man, and also still showing respect to women. If that lady wants to work and stuff, you let her work and you push her forward. If she want to be a stay-at-home mom, she can be a stay-at-home mom. It's neither that's not just her only job, though.
But
being a mom is not just the only job of a woman.
Well, then the kids will suffer, and then I'll be pushing her backwards if I'm trying to make her have a career while she has children, and the children they don't get tended to. So I'll be pushing her backward. I'll be a bad husband. But we can agree to disagree on that topic there. But I'm running out of time, and I gotta finish the show here. But I appreciate the call. Always good talking to you, JC, and call me again, man.
Congrats on the 302. Bye-bye.
All right. Thank you. Fair enough. You guys' points. But I just wanted to end on this subject is, for one, I have to say, this is just so key. Because for some reason, people are convinced that a woman staying at home is blasphemous, that it's abuse. You know what I mean? Like as if that she's a slave, right? But what I don't understand is that why aren't you looking at men in that same way then? Why aren't the men slave to having to work? Right? That's the narrative. And the crazy thing is that a woman, she's just doing her job. She's just doing her part. If they have children, she's just doing her, that's her job. What is the man's job? The men's job have to go out and work. Nobody complains about that. No, there's no pity for the man who has to go out and work. Like, oh, poor man, he's working so hard. Why does he have to work like that? Come on, that's not fair. That's not fair. But why is it unfair for the woman to work at home? Because the narrative is that home is a slave. But what that is, that's abuse to the children if she's not home. What about the children? Nobody cares about the children. Aren't the children begging for their mother and father to raise them? Aren't the children begging for that? I want my mother to raise me. I don't want this nanny. Who are you? Nanny who? I don't want this babysitter. I want my mother and father that brought me into this world without my permission. If you're going to do that, at least raise me. You know what I mean? But people are selfish. In the fallen state, we're selfish as human beings, and we don't think about, consider the children that they have to grow up and suffer, though we grew up and suffered. You know what I mean? And I know that my mom and my dad, they did the best they can. They missed the mark in a lot of areas that affected me, but I don't hold it against them. But yet, they still need to take responsibility for that. You know what I mean? So the reason why relationships and marriages do not work out is because the woman doesn't know her role and a man doesn't know herself. And like I told JC, a woman's role is to put God first over everything and obey her husband. If she's not married, then the obey thing don't have to come yet, but she should at least know what that means. She should already have an idea of what that means, or at least be seeking out how to learn it, right? She obeys her husband, and what that is respect for your husband's authority, right? And you submit to it because you see that that's the right thing to do. A man's role is to obviously first and foremost put God first over everything, same thing, but to know himself. Because when you know yourself, you know God, right? And that way you know what is right and wrong within yourself. And when I mean right and wrong, you guys will be like, I thought it didn't exist. I already know, chat. But what I mean is you'll know how to understand these things. You'll know how to recognize God's voice so he can direct you. And he'll tell you how to deal with the, let's say, an issue that comes up in the marriage, or how to deal with your children. You're leading the way because you're following the light within. It's guiding you. But if you don't recognize it because you don't know yourself, then you can't be guided. At least not fully, right? Not completely, to bring peace in the home. So a man must know himself before he gets married. And if he does, it'll work out better for him. That's just how it goes. And it just benefits you better if it's done in that way. Okay? Amazing stuff. I got to end. Rick and the rest of the callers, I can't get to today. But last thing I want to say as well is make sure you guys check out American Anchor Baby coming in next. Okay? I'm trying to shoot. I got 2 minutes here. Let me check the super chats really quick. Cause I always get caught up. Ang Ban Art. How do I fight the compulsion to sulk in sadness? That's a good question. How do I fight the compulsion to sulk in sadness? Just keep in mind that when you're feeling that sadness and you want to sulk in it, it's because you're enjoying the thrill, the feeling that it gives you. Like, poor me, this is so sad, this sucks. You're enjoying that, right? So just acknowledge that. But when you no longer want to sulk, you won't. That's really is. You just enjoy the sulk. That's all. When you're tired of sulking, you'll stop. So it's not so much about fighting it because you want to do it. So when you no longer want to do it, then you'll stop doing it. But just don't judge it though either. Don't be making a big deal like, oh my God, what's wrong with me? I can't be like this forever. But you enjoy it. That's what it is. Thank you, Amen Art. I hope that helps. Aaron G, does seeking the truth mean to wait for it to be revealed? Oh yeah, that was from yesterday. And I believe I answered it. Yeah, seeking the truth is waiting for it to be revealed. And that's what faith is. Last thing, and then I'm out of here. Let me just check. Buy me a coffee. Buy me a little coffee. Actors are actors, said Eric Harlan. They're like women, always putting on a performance. Relating videos of Shia LaBeouf, Will Smith, and Terrence Howard to your talk points is already removed from reality because your subject is a professional liar. They're saying what sounds good, playing the crowd, imitating their therapist. Notice how their words are on point and their personal lives are a mess. You may be making a point there, Eric. You may be making a point there. Having the right words, but not really knowing what that means. You may be making a point there because I see that a lot online. These YouTube podcasts everywhere saying all the right things, making sense, but are they really understanding that? You know, that red pill, like the red pill community, saying all the right things, but are they carrying it out, right? So very good point, Eric. I got it in. American Anchor Baby's coming back in. I'll read the rest tomorrow. Sorry, someone. I will get to it tomorrow. But shout out to someone for sending a few donuts. American Anchor Baby's coming in right now. Check out his show. Coming up next 5 minutes. I am back here tomorrow. So I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a good day and enjoy the American Anchor Baby. All right, y'all. Gotta go. Bye.